Hi, welcome back to Defining Moments. I'm Suzanne Quast. And as you're watching or listening to this interview, maybe you realize that you're hunched over your computer, or maybe you're driving and you're not even aware of your posture. Well, my guest today is going to make you rethink the way you move in life. His name is Aaron Alexander, and he is a movement expert, manual therapist. He's also the host of the top-rated podcast and author of The Aligned Method. He's basically a healer. So he helps people get rid of pain, get stronger, move more confidently, and rebalance their bodies. Today, we're gonna dive deep into the importance of body movement and learn some tools that we can use to achieve alignment. Here are his moments.
Drift away, beating like the sound of love.
Thank you so much for that introduction.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Okay, I know we're gonna get into what you do. You work with a lot of celebrities and professional athletes and everybody in between. But we have to first start with how you're sitting. Because I know that there's somebody out there watching and who's like, I don't know, probably knees hurt just looking at you sit that way.
Oh, interesting.
Right? I'm gonna try to do it.
Strange.
Why? Like, why is this
Weird.
posture important?
Well, this posture specifically, it's not like there's any one posture that's like the panacea cure-all for all things. This is interesting. All right, so from this position, the why this looks uncomfortable for you, one, you're wearing heels on a couch, which is fascinating, but you need to raise your tuchus up. So if we can, this is probably uncomfortable for camera angles, but yeah, you raise your booty up even more, one more time. It's gonna be awkward, it's gonna be strange, we're gonna do it. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm
getting better.
getting
All right,
better.
still not
Good.
perfect, but we're getting better.
Trying to
We can talk about it after, but so as you're sitting down in this position, it's quite valuable for you to be able to have your hips up above the level of your knees when you're in that position. It sets your pelvis up for stability and support. So it rolls your sit bones on the front edge of them, the ischial tuberosities, and then that puts your sacrum and your lumbar spine, the rest of your spine, into this stacked, aligned position, which makes life a lot easier. When you do that without the proper setup, then you're going to go into this collapsed position. So most of us were not set up, our lives and the mechanics and our awareness of how to move in our body isn't set up to sit in a position like that.
Yeah.
So we just end up never making that jump.
You're right. Like, because I can imagine if somebody's working a 9 to 5, like, I don't think they can go to their boss and be like, yeah, so this desk situation's really not working for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to sit on the floor with some pillows.
I mean, it would be pretty darn cost effective.
You're right,
in comparison
actually.
to getting like a several $1,000 hydraulic desk that goes you up into a standing position. Standing's great, but it's just another sedentary range of motion. When you're spending more time on the ground, naturally you're going to go into, you're in a sukhasana right now. You might go into a straddle. You might go into like a 90-90 position with your legs. You might, all of a sudden decide to come down onto your stomach and be like a sphinx pose in yoga if you're working on a laptop. Essentially what that is what you would see any child or animal in nature just naturally do. It'd be very strange to see a child just stand in place and stare at a screen for several hours at a time. It wouldn't happen because they're more in tune with what their biology is telling them. So they're just listening to what biology and gravity is saying, and they just kind of move with that. Whereas adults, we've been programmed, which sounds like a tinfoil hat word, but we've learned that in order to be a good, high-functioning individual in society, you need to sit in place and stare at the screen. So there's a quote from a guy called Alvin Toffler, says, the successful people of the future will be able to learn, unlearn, and then relearn.
Okay.
And so what this is, your original learning, before, you're a kid, you grow up, you're rolling around, you're having fun, then you learn how to sit in the desk, stare, stay concentrated, focus on the paper, and then there's the process of unlearning that and re-embracing dance and love and connection and compassion and just climbing a tree because it feels good. And that's what I'm really interested in with the Align Method is kind of reteaching people those basic principles of what they always have known, and also being able to be a high-functioning person in society.
Well, one of your philosophies is how you move through a room is how you move through life.
Yeah, it's Ida Rolf.
And as I read that, I was like, oh, that's cute and catchy. Yeah. And then I thought about it and I was like, oh no, like that's like really profound. And I started thinking about myself and I was like, well, how do I move through a room? And on one side of the token, I'm an extrovert, right? I host a show, I'm an actress, I've been on stages. But if I'm not in performer mode, I realize that in everyday life, I try to stay as small as possible. And like I like have my shoulders down, like, I stand with my knees crossed. And I realized that that was probably a form of trauma as a child and maybe a survival skill that I needed. I had a similar background to you. My mom was an addict, and coming from a parent who's an addict, I realized I had to stay small in order to stay safe. I had to be good. I had to be perfect. And if I could just like always see how she's behaving, then I can know how I can behave.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, like, that's, interesting, that served the younger Suzanne, but that doesn't serve me. And I guess I'm curious, like, how did your trauma show up and express itself in your body?
I don't think I have like a my trauma as as it's like this cup that I hold and I contain and I treasure it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do that, and I think I have done that, and I'm in the process of unwinding the story of my trauma in the first place.
Yep.
Because I think that sometimes we can stay attached to certain
Totally.
levels of trauma because it creates significance in our lives. We can stay attached to like, oh, I'm the bitchy, angry person, or I'm the smart person, or I'm the whatever, because we want to create identity for ourselves. Sometimes we can attach ourselves to that identity of I'm a hurt person. So that's something that I think is interesting that I've been working on. Just like, it's not my trauma, it's just the course of events in my life.
Yep.
And I think the course of events in my life have only been of benefit for teaching me compassion and care and being able to understand people at a level deeper than I would be able to had I not experienced kind of what felt to be at one point unsure home environments as a child.
Totally. But did you ever have a moment where you realized, like, this maybe isn't serving me, how I've been in the world, or my body is so
I mean,
tight?
I notice it
that-
all the time. I notice it like this morning.
Oh, interesting.
Moments that aren't serving me. I mean, something that I'm in the process of working with is intimacy, especially with women.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm really good at like turbocharged, rapid rapport building with people. People probably think I'm an asshole a lot of times too, but pretty regularly I can find connection with somebody really quick.
Yep.
But then within going into deeper layers, I find myself kind of like sabotaging relationships in a sense of all of a sudden, her lips are too big, or her butt's too this way, or she talks too much or too little or whatever. And I'm observing those things as being, I think, little like, kind of like protective mechanisms to kind of shut me down from going in a deeper layer with myself with another person.
That's interesting. I think that's really profound. I know I do. I think we all should take that like level of like self-awareness, that level of inventory in our lives. How did you then become, though, this holistic healer, or know that you wanted to, research and do body movement and alignment? How did that come about?
Well, so like healer, I absolutely help people with them cultivating their own level of healing, and they help me with cultivating my own level of healing. So I'm certainly not I'm not like the verb healer. I'm just like a part of the healing. I want to heal together. What was the question?
What was the moment, or were there moments where you realized you wanted to do this for a living? Like, I want to.
No, it's a slow evolution. You go through so much pain, imbalance, injury. Feel like at some point for every person, health is going to be the most important thing in their lives. 100% without a doubt. There's going to be some point in your life, in my life, where, all I want is my health.
Yep.
And so when you get faced with that moment, it could just be from like chronic pain, it could be chronic headaches, it could be anxiety, depression, maybe suicidal ideation, something like, like there's so many different realms that we can go into. And so for me, it was kind of like a combination of things, and just needing to seek help, and so seeking help led into starting to remedy some of these things. And then all of a sudden, each one of those little buckets that I had to sort out for myself, all of a sudden, okay, cool, I have some new tools that now I can bring that with somebody else. And then, okay, now I have this issue. Now I'm going to learn how to remedy that. And I'm like, oh, I have new tools. I can help other people.
Yep.
There's like I like the idea that you can't teach what you know, you can only teach who you are. So you can read all the shit in the world and regurgitate that, but people are really observing who you are as a person. So just a moment of silence and connection with somebody that's actually like done the work in quotations can be far more profound than someone that's read every textbook.
So I heard you say on a podcast that there are small incremental changes that we can make on a regular basis that can have significant biological changes to our future self. What are some of those changes? Like, what are 3 practical takeaways that somebody can listen to this and then implement into their lives?
Well, the obvious ones would be spend more time on the ground. It doesn't need to be a weird yogic, something or another, but literally like pet a puppy. Next time you see a dog, make it be an opportunity like, cool, I'm going to squat all the way down. Maybe I'll take a knee, maybe I'll kind of wiggle my shoulders, do some thoracic mobility.
Okay.
Next time I see a kid, like I'm going to take that opportunity to actually play with the kid. Or, you could get a low table just like this one, get yourself some, like a Moroccan poof or a foam roller or cushions or pillows, make the ground really inhabitable, make it fun, make it comfortable, put it near a window, make it a place that you actually want to be, clean it up, because that's for you actually inhabiting that space. It's not just for your dirty feet.
Okay.
So by doing that, cultures that end up spending more time on the ground have minimal to no incidence of osteoarthritis at the hips, very low osteoarthritis at the knees, pelvic floor dysfunctions far less, fall risk just goes off the table. Fall risk is insane.
Fall risk. So literally the risk of falling.
The risk of falling. It makes no sense at all. For the human anatomy, it has no sense. For any animal that you would see, if fall risk is an issue, imagine if your dog had fall risk.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, fuck.
Fluffy's never going to make it.
How did this happen?
Yeah.
And how it doesn't happen is because the dog rarely goes up and down and expresses that full range of motion throughout their body. Human beings have the opportunity to not do that, and then we get confused because it's kind of like an expression of wealth and affluence. The wealthy and affluent end up becoming the sickest and most isolated. Not that if you have money, all of a sudden you become a jerk. But life gets harder as you get away from the ground, and that can be a metaphoric ground.
Well, look at that. Okay, so that's one. What are 2 other things?
Oh, yeah, hang more.
Hang, what do you mean hang?
Yeah, so to get yourself a pull-up bar, find a tree branch, anything like that. There's a whole book called Healing Shoulder Pain. It's called Shoulder Pain ? I call it Dr. John Kirsch. And in that, he was an orthopedic surgeon. He was not only a surgeon for people's shoulders issues. And then he's like, discovered, what if people just hang and start to restructure that shape of the shoulder girdle just through that simple passive mobility exercise of doing what your ancestors, depending upon what your belief system is, have likely done for a very long time.
Okay.
So your shoulders are built to brachiate. It's an unnecessary word for hanging. The structure of the collarbone, your hands, like you're a hanger. And so that's something that once again, you're also a floor sitter. You're a hanger. It's things that we've left, but look at any kid, look at any monkey or ape, or they reach up and they hang, and then the next one I would say is play. Be more playful.
Playful. And didn't you also say something about breathing, like breathing through your nose?
Yeah.
I mean, breathing sounds really obvious, but you said that there was a difference between breathing through your nose and breathing through your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so there's all sorts of interesting research around the value of just breathing through your nose. One, as that air goes back through the intranasal passages, as you're breathing through that, you're literally releasing nitric oxide into your bloodstream, which is helpful with vasodilation. It's helpful with circulation. And it literally changes the structure of your face. So children or adults with what's called malocclusion, their teeth get all kind of closed up and janky. Your tongue acts as a natural retainer. So when you're breathing, you try it right now. So as you're just sitting there breathing, try breathing with your mouth open. It looks kind of ugly because it's naturally, biologically, I think the reason that dudes like girls with butts is because, and guys and girls like dudes with butts, is it's an indication that their anatomy is functional.
What do you mean?
Well, so I'll get back to the tongue stuff.
Okay. We're gonna get back to that too.
But yeah, so when you're hip hinging, which is another one of the chapters in the book, when you're hip hinging, you're engaging those gluteal muscles. You're building the butt. If you're not hip hinging, and it's a more effective way to move your body. If you're not doing that, then
Hip hinging.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Booty goes straight back. So as if you're standing up straight, to squat down to pick something up or just squat in general, your butt would go straight back behind you. Your spine stays kind of long and like neutral, and then you're going to be putting more stress into the butt muscles. Put more stress into the butt muscles, they get bigger. And so you see somebody like an athlete, look at any baseball player or, just any like really good athlete, other than maybe like billiards or something, they will have a pretty juicy butt. That's sexually attractive because it's an indication that they can take care of the tribe, they can build a house, and they'll be able to like be a sustainable partner for a long time. If they don't have a butt, then it's an indication that they can fake it. They can do all the different things to kind of like, people get butt surgeries.
Which is crazy, but it's a
wild.
thing now.
Yeah, it's a wild. But what that is it's tapping into your reptilian mammalian self that says, oh, cool, that anatomy works. I want that. So we're jumping all of the natural tendencies that we would have to create that sexy anatomy, and we're jumping to the end point, and we're missing out on the whole journey. So the journey is doing the crap in the aligned method.
What is the alignment? So talk to us about the crap in the aligned method.
So those are three things. So it's broken down into one, how your environment affects your physiology. So getting into how your home, your office, your travel, all of that, those are all gyms. They're Pilates studios, they're yoga studios. That's like your life is fitness.
Okay.
So if you're martyring yourself for the sake of traveling across the country or for the sake of being at work because you need to make money and you need to pay your bills, or you want to be at your home and you want to be comfortable, so you get the lazy boy sofa and you get the TV and you kind of just sit and stare. All of that's you're expressing your fitness, you're exercising. Your body doesn't know the difference of whether you walk into a gym or walk into a Pilates studio or walk into your house.
Okay.
So that's a section of the book, is making it really simple, subtle adjustments that people can make to their
Like
daily
what?
life.
Give me an example. What would you adjust?
So the floor stuff is a
Okay.
thing, obviously. Get a pull-up bar in your doorway is a thing. So hanging, that's
Okay.
another one. Bring like more creativity in your home. So get yourself a clipboard or a chalkboard or something like that, so you can write quotes or draw a little picture, or have painting supplies around. Surround your home in instruments. Doesn't need to be complex ones.
What if I don't play any of them? Just like,
Everybody plays the drum. Everybody plays the harmonica. Everybody plays like the shaker. Everybody plays the spoons.
that's true.
So if you have that in your environment, the reason that we don't do that stuff is because we've been habituated to not do it. When you put people in those environments, they embrace it and they love it. And so what the book represents is an opportunity for people to start to re-embrace those things that they naturally want to do for the most part. Maybe not everybody wants to play a shaker, play a drum or dance or have sex.
Oh, hopefully you do.
I think, but I think that there's a term called anhedonia, which is a person where they essentially like lose sensation and emotion, and everything just feels dull and gray. And I think a lot of that anhedonia type thing would come from someone that perhaps has had like a lot of trauma. So then it's kind of nursing them back into a place of, what, I do want to dance, I do want to have sex, I do want to play, I want to roll around, I want to paint the wall.
Yeah. Is that why you think, so I guess two questions. One is, why in working with so many people do you think that so many people are out of alignment? And what is alignment?
There isn't any static alignment. There's alignments. So there's another quote from Ida Rolf. It says, your body, when it starts working in the field of gravity, it begins to heal itself. Okay. So what that means is when your joints are stacked up on top of each other, when your nervous system is aligned, it's not being crimped off at any point, all the cardiovascular tissue, all of those pipes they're not being jammed and kinked, then all of a sudden the body can open up just like a pond. Your body's essentially a big pond. So if you can circulate that pond well, it's a healthy place to habitate. And if all of a sudden it gets kinked up at any point through misalignment in this case, but misalignment I think is also a psychological, emotional thing. But then all of a sudden there's that kink, now there's a backup, and then it's a dam, and then it becomes toxic, and then fish start dying and things get weird.
Yeah, things are dying inside.
So that's what alignment is. That's what it means to align yourself, is unkinking those hoses. And that means a lot more than just doing more push-ups or doing more bicep curls or doing more foam rolling. It means thinking, adjusting your thoughts. It means adjusting your environment. It means maybe adjusting your career. It means maybe adjusting your relationships. And it means focusing on your body in a way that actually is nurturing to it.
Okay, we have to wrap, but we have two more things. One is, speaking of alignment, what is the thing behind you? How do I use this? Because I saw you use this with Chuck Liddell on your Instagram.
Oh yeah.
And like you were
Chuck.
doing like some weird things. What is this?
So it's called the Align Band. It's a resistance band, and it has a door anchor, and then there's a program that goes along with it. Everybody can get the program for free. It's at
awesome.
alignband.com. So you can use any resistance band. This is a good quality one. And, like the tension of it is nice for the stuff that I suggest. And so it has a door anchor, so you can attach it to a door, you close the door on it, and then you have a resistance band hanging from there, and then essentially you can floss out your joints, you can do like visceral massage, you can put it around your hips and go into a down dog and decompress your hips. It's a really excellent travel tool, and I think it's very valuable to have visual cues in your home, i.e., the pull-up bar in your doorway or the floor cushions or a band hanging from your closet door, for example.
It's a reminder.
It's a reminder. So you go by, you open up your wrist from staring at the cell phone all day. So you kind of open up all that carpal tunnel, and you open up the shoulders, and then, that gets into how that affects the way that you think and the way that you feel. If your body's in more optimal alignment, then your thoughts and your feelings are in more optimal alignment.
Okay, well, let's get in alignment, people.
Do it.
All right, so we're going to end on this. If you could define the legacy that you want to leave behind in a couple of words, what would it be?
I'm maybe more compassion.
Okay.
I think would be the thing. Compassion for each other, compassion for ourselves, not being so hard on ourselves.
I love that. And just so you guys know, I sat like this the entire time.
You did! I didn't even notice!
This is unheard of for me. My knees are so bad. My hips are so tight.
Not for long.
Right? And I did it. And I'm really proud.
Well
and I
done.
feel good.
Good work.
So go, honestly, this guy, his podcast is amazing. Get his book. He has tons of resources for you guys to get your body and your mind in alignment.
Stack it up.
Stack it up and pass this on to anyone you think might need it. Thanks for watching.